Those are thunder clouds. I'm excited. I love thunder. I love the rumble. Don't like the lightning claps though, but I do love the thunder. I don't know if you can hear it. Mm, I love it. Anyway, hi. Welcome to another studio vlog. My name is Bev Cole, but you can call me Miss Bev. And my uh, trusty sidekick is our Grand Corgi dog, CK Dexter Haven. So in today's vlog, I'm going to be showing you how I create a digital illustration from beginning to end, from the sketch all the way to the part where I color it in, add the shadows and highlights, and also the line art. So I'm going to be showing you some real-time segments, but I will also add some time lapses. This whole taping took a little over an hour, like an hour and 15 minutes, and unfortunately I can't upload the whole hour and 15-minute video to YouTube because it'll fry my laptop, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why time lapses come in very handy, because they shrink the time of the total vlog or video. So anyway, if you have any questions, please leave me some comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm excited. I'm using my iPad Pro, my iPencil, and the Procreate app. Here I'm in Procreate, and the first thing I do is I click on the plus button and look for the size of canvas that I want, which is 500 by 500 pixels at 300 dpi. I then set up my what's it called, drawing guides, and I picked the kind that looks like graph paper with the squares. Here I'm sliding the color ruler to the color that I want my graph paper to have. I like to pick a dark color with the low opacity, and then I also can click and pick which size I want my squares to be. And once I'm done with that, I click on done, and there's my canvas. I then pick what pencil I want to use, or brush, and it's called a Procreate pencil. And then I click the color that I want as well, and I, for the most part, use red. And now I'm ready to start sketching. So I plan to draw a young girl sitting down on the floor reading a book with her cute little kitty leaning up against her. I get my inspiration from either Pinterest or anywhere on the internet when I do a Google search, and also some favorite artists. Trying to think of them. I really like to watch Juliana Swaney draw. Niani, she's a wonderful watercolorist. Also, Nubian Rock Chick. She is an amazing watercolorist, and I can watch her watercolor all day. And I'll leave all the links below to these artists that I mentioned. This one is no particular artist, didn't have a name. I pulled her up on, or pulled the picture up on, I believe it was Pinterest. It's been fun learning to draw using Procreate on my iPad, and it's neat that if you make a mistake, you can always go back and just simply erase it. Here I'm resizing it, and that's another thing that's really cool about Procreate. And you can resize the image. When you do it with pencil and paper, you either have to erase the whole thing or start all over again. But with Procreate, using the iPad and your pencil, it's easy to resize your image to where you want it to be. I think, like with every artist, drawing the hands, the limbs, a facial features is really hard at the beginning, and I've come a long way, but I still have a long way to go. But I like to look at my older sketches to see how far I've gone in drawing, especially the hands and fingers. They're coming a little bit easier to draw, but I still struggle, but I have more confidence only because I draw every day. I draw hands and legs and feet, shoes, faces, ears, every day, just about every day. And it's just like, they say, practice makes perfect. I did forget to mention that the sketch is on the first layer, and I'll talk about layers as I go along, but layers are very important when you're doing digital illustration. Also, I want to mention that because this is the sketch layer, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to draw over and over and make crooked lines and stuff like that, because remember, this is not the final rendering. This is just the sketch that'll help you along to get to the finished product. So again, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make double lines and crooked lines and go over something that maybe you're later going to erase, because again, this is the sketch layer. So after this step, I create another layer on top of this one, and then I do the line art in black ink. And unfortunately, and I apologize, my camera died soon after I started the sketch, or soon after I was doing the cat. So it jumps right into the ink part. So here it is. I feel so bad that I wasn't able to record that part. But yeah, my phone tends to do that. I record on my phone here, and I don't have a lot of room in my phone, so I had to go back and delete a whole bunch of stuff and apps just so that I could get some space to do some more videotaping. But here I show you in the line art, because once you can tell that it's all done, the line art. And what I'm doing is I'm going back and I go over the black lines and make them a little bit straighter and crisper, and or crispier, what's the word, anyway. I make them more solid. Where two lines meet, I make sure they connect really well. That's important, because when you start filling in the color, if they're not connected well, when you use the fill option, like the fill bucket, um, it'll fill up the whole page, and you don't want to do that. You want to fill up a certain area with a certain color, not the whole page. So it's important that when two lines meet, they are connected really solid and really well. So as you watch me here, I'm going through the whole picture and just uh, solidifying the black lines and making sure that all the connections are good and solid. Once I'm done with the line art, um, you I go back and look at it, and if there's any changes I want to make, this is the time to do it. You don't want to do it later because it gets to be too tedious. But like here, I'm adding some wrinkles to the socks that aren't there yet. So I can do that now, and all I have to do is just use stay on the ink layer, use the black pencil, and draw draw what you want to draw. Here I am drawing the wrinkles, and then I also deleting what I don't want in there. So once I get done here, you'll be able to see what I just added to the socks. So when I'm done with the line art, I start making layers for every color. So for instance, the pants are this aqua color, so I made a layer for those. And then I'm adding another layer, and then I'm going to pick a color, and this is going to be for the socks. So on and so forth. And it's important that you do this because later on when you want to do the shading and the blending, um, you can do it layer by layer without ruining any other layer. You do each layer one at a time, and you go back and you add the shadowing and the blending. And when you do that, you don't ruin any of the other layers. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense. But here, as you can see, I tried adding the green, and it filled up the page, and that means that I did not connect the two lines together. The hard part is trying to find where the connection or the disconnection is. But so what I do is I go back to the line art layer. I take the black ink, and once again I go back and I just go over the line art, hoping to find the disconnection, and that way I can fill up the shirt with the green color. So hopefully this next time it'll work. When I'm done going over the line art, I go back to the shirt layer and get the same color and then try to fill it in, and see, it didn't work. So again, oh, it worked there. Okay, so it's the other arm that I need to go back and go over the black line once again and try to find the disconnection or the leak and fix it so that when I go to fill up the sleeve with green, it will work. And it did. Yay! Woo! I'm going to go ahead and time lapse this next segment, only because it is repetitive. It's the same thing I've been doing, adding layers for every color and going back and fixing any line art that I need to fix, and then going back and adding more layers and more colors. So I'll see you once this is done. Once I'm happy with all the colors, I go into each layer starting at the bottom, and I'm going to start the shading phase of my drawing. So I go, for instance here, I click on the pants layer, I click on the color, and then I get a darker hue of that same color by doing this. And then I use the wash brush to do my shading because it's softer and it's thick. I just like the way it helps me do the shading. And I also alpha lock the layer, which it blocks out everything around it, so that when I go to add the shading, I'm not going into another color by accident. It allows me to stay within the limits of, for instance here, the pants. So when I go to shade it and when I go to blend it, I'm not interfering with any other color or layer. To do the shading, I pull the original color by pressing down, like you see here, and then it gives me the original color in the color wheel. And then I'm able to move the cursor down to a darker hue so that I can go do the shading. Once I'm done with the shading, it's time to highlight. And I go through the same process that I did with shading, except instead of going with each individual color, I just go ahead and pick white, and then I go through each layer and paint in the highlight where I feel it's needed. What I didn't mention before is that in shading and in highlighting, after I'm done coloring in, I go in and click that finger that looks like it's pointing down, but it's the blending feature. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm blending. In this next segment, I go into the line art layer after I'm done coloring, shading, and highlighting. And now this is optional, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I go back and I thin out the black line because I don't like it thick. And that's optional. Some of you might be happy just the way it is, but I personally prefer the line to be thin. And the reason why I don't do that from the start is because when I go to color and use the fill bucket, it won't work. The color will bleed all over the page, and that's why the lines stay thick when I'm coloring, but then when I'm done with just about everything, I go back and I thin out the line art. And I know you probably think I'm crazy and why am I doing this step? And sometimes I wonder why I do it, but I guess it's just crazy me. I just don't like the very thick lines. So I go and thin them all out. And as you see, in some spaces, it's leaving a white uh, mark. It's because I'm erasing the color also, and that's okay because um, again, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I go back and I fill in the color. Um, so it's tedious. Yes, it takes time. It's probably an unnecessary step, but until I can find a brush that will allow me to draw art or line art, um, that will work when I go in to fill in the color without it bleeding and spilling into the whole page. I will keep on doing this until I find the right brush. So. Near the end of the illustration, there are times where I will look at it and say, oh, I forgot to add shading here, or I'd like to add more shade here, or highlight here, or add some more hair here. So that's what I do towards the end so that I can be happy with it. I also like to go back onto the line art layer again and fix some crooked lines and just try to make it as good and perfect according to me as possible. And there she is, friends, all done. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, by all means, please leave me a comment. And don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Until next time, see ya.